It is a normal Wednesday morning at Woodlawn High School. Students are talking, laughing, going to class, interested about the possibilities of a snow day and the winter days ahead of January 13th. Adnan Saeed, a smart and friendly 17-year-old student at the school, is among the more popular and smarter group of kids. However, he is concealing major pain and murderous intent. The only hint he ever gave of this was directly commented by his poetry teacher, who said he showed a dark side to his thoughts in his poetry. Even though this was a comedy among students, this could be a precursor or indication towards his murderous intent of his girlfriend who just broke up with him. Here is Heyman Lee. She used to be Adnan's girlfriend, but recently she broke up with Adnan mainly over limitations from their family's circumstances and her new liking to a new man named Don. These thoughts were clearly stated in her journal that she often wrote in almost every day, usually about recent events in her life. It clearly details the points in which she gets upset with Adnan and how he was slightly possessive, anxious, and did not know how to lose. It first started during school on the 13th. Although Adnan had probably been scheming for some time, he talked with many of his peers about asking for a ride from Hay after school. This was directly reinforced by the affidavit and response from Aisha and other classmates. This is corroborated by the cell phone records where we see Adnan calling Hay throughout the day asking for a ride after school. At some point, Hay agrees to give this ride to Adnan after school. This leads them to the parking lot of Best Buy in Woodland. It is believed mainly because of the testimony from Jade Williams saying that Adnan called him, stating that this is where he decided to strangle Heyman Lee to death in her own car. The cell phone records and locations are less corroborable in this instant when Jade stated that Adnan called him right after the murder was committed, but the call is still visible. It can just vary slightly in the location due to the wide range of a cell phone tower's detection field.
After the murder, it is believed that Adnan met up with Jay at the Best Buy or somewhere nearby in a shopping mall. In this instance, many of Jay's accounts of what happened vary, which makes it very hard to find an accurate account of what happened. Jay thinks that they met up, smoked some cigarettes or weed, and waited around with the body of Hayes still in the trunk. Adnan states that he gave Jay his cell phone after this point, but based on the cell phone records, he probably still has it due to calls to people such as Nisha and others. They both return to their vehicles. At this point, Jay states that Adnan is still in Hayes' vehicle and Jay's in the one he brought to meet up with Adnan. They return to school because Adnan feels that they need to be seen at track practice as well as being out and about so that he has an alibi for their murder happening. This corroborates fairly well as we see a few phone calls near the area of the school later in the day after the murder was said to have been committed in the account from Jay. Later in the night, Jay states that they head to Leakin Park to bury the body after Adnan asks him where would be a good place to hide Hay. 3 minutes of driving later, they arrive at a pullout on the side of the road in the park. They get out, grab some shovels, and head a ways into the forest, but later it is revealed to be about 120 feet. They pass over a log and decide on a spot to bury the body. Adnan starts to dig the hole, and eventually, after some coercing, he made Jay start digging as well. Jay said he mainly did this and did not inform the authorities regarding the murder that Adnan had committed was because of the fact that he was involved in the selling of marijuana and other questionable activities that were not necessarily encouraged by authorities. After digging the hole, they bury Hay, and this is where Jay says he started to feel remorse about his actions and wanted to inform the authorities. But after more coercing from Adnan and the worry about getting arrested by the police, he continued with Adnan's plan. They traveled to a group of row houses, specifically 33 block of Edgewood. When they arrive, Jay says that they ditch the car there, and Adnan makes sure to clean out as much of the evidence that was remaining in the vehicle as possible. Jay, following along with his car, picks up Adnan from the ditching spot. This directly connects with the cell phone records, specifically the calls later in the night to Nisha linking the location of the exchange to Jay's story, and the fact that Adnan continued to have his cell phone throughout the night. Based on the evidence presented at the trial, the research that we have done, and the corroboration with the cell phone records, if I was on the jury, I would have voted Adnan as guilty. However, I would not be able to do so beyond reasonable doubt. The main reason I am voting this way is because there is no other story that could have been uncovered, and no other information available presenting another plausible cause of death for Heyman Lee. I feel that this limitation of information links directly to the idea of a single story and the effect it has on a society.